have a form that you guys, excuse me, we have a form that you guys would fill out for that. And Louis, sorry, sometimes I forget I talk fast and have to slow down, but that's all that I have for here. And if you guys want to open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, sure. And I was looking at some of the questions in the Q&A section. So just to reiterate, some of the positions you had are lifeguard, sports monitors, playhouse
Mhm.
attendants, and membership reps.
Yes.
What is the minimum age for those positions? And then also, I know you mentioned volunteer. Is that open to any age as well?
Yes. So that's typically open to any age starting at 15. Excuse me, 14. So for volunteer opportunities, yes.
Awesome. And then somebody had asked, what if you're not in Fort Worth? What can they do to contact their local area or look for their local YMCA?
So where would you be located?
Yeah, it's not in the Q&A, but we'll let them answer, and then we'll skip to another question. Oh, for the volunteer, how old do you have to be to volunteer for the trunk and treat?
14.
14. All right, awesome.
Mhm.
And then I know you mentioned the positions. What's the process, right, to apply for a job if some of these students are interested?
Okay, perfect. So our process is that on our website, you would go to the website, and on the website you would so depending if you go to our general website or you go to the branch website, there's always all the way at the bottom, there's a position where there's a tab that says careers, and then you'll open up that tab and then it will show you all the positions that we have available. And that's how you would apply for it based on the position that you choose.
All right, and just remember, students, for any K-12 students that would like to apply, we do have a special partnership with the YMCA. So please get with your coordinators and get with myself, and we can give you the preparation that you need before you apply, right? So we can help you with your resumes and how to fill out an application. And I know that is definitely needed, before you apply. So again, contact one of your coordinators or myself, and we can get you connected with the YMCA in your area or with Stephanie. So another question is for the sports monitors, is it one sport or is it several sports that they
Oh,
participate in?
good question. So it's going to be all of our sports, but they run on season. So right now we are starting fall soccer and fall volleyball, and so they typically run any so soccer is a little bit different just because if there's a game where it gets rained out, and so they'll play the following weekend. So typically they're in 8-week sessions, and then once those are complete, then they'll start the next one. So right now it's fall volleyball, fall soccer. When that ends, it runs right into winter basketball.
Okay, and then somebody asked, which YMCA are you located in? And then if you can just go over again the maybe some of the locations in your specific area that
Mhm.
are hiring that you know.
Mhm. So I am located at the Ryan Family YMCA, which is off McCart. So if you get a chance to look up the Fort Worth YMCA's, I will list them, just name them out so that way you can hear them if they sound familiar to you. So currently we have 13 in our association, would be the Benbrook YMCA. Then we also have the Downtown YMCA, which is the AMG Carter. And then excuse me, so I'm just going to list them all. So we have the Benbrook YMCA, the Downtown YMCA, the Joshua YMCA, Hood County YMCA, which is in Granbury, Ryan Family YMCA, where I work off of McCart, the Bedford YMCA, Northwest YMCA, which is in Saginaw, off of Boat Club Road, the North Park YMCA, it's in the Keller area, the McDonald YMCA. This is going to be close to This is going to be close to the street is Mitchell Boulevard, East Barry. The East Side YMCA recently just opened, so it is close to. It's not too far from Arlington. It's about 15 to 20 minutes away from Arlington. They've just reopened. They were closed since COVID, came back, renovated, and now they're open as well. Give me one second because I believe. And there's one that is kind of a sweet spot for us. It's called the Camp Carter YMCA. It sits on about 250 acres. It's a wonderful place. If anyone has never been, it's a really great place to check out as well. I do know for most of their positions, you would have to be 18 just because of everything that goes on there. They have zip lining, alpine tower, in the summertime, they hire for lifeguards because they do canoeing as well as they have a outdoor pool. They're also in the summertime they look for chefs or anyone with the capacity with the cooking knowledge. So it's really fun. And then they also do camps, and so they have overnight camps as well as weekly camps that they host. When they do the overnight camps, children will stay for the week, and then they go home usually on Saturdays.
Awesome. And there is a question from a student. If they want to apply, will they need a state ID or an identification? What's required as far as documentation? Do you know?
Yes. So typically, once you apply, you wouldn't need it for your application, but if you're um, accepted a position, then you would need your state ID. If you're in high school, we do accept a school ID, and then you could either use a birth certificate or social security, or if you have your passport. So passport is like the one that trumps everything. If you have a passport, that's the only identification you would need. But if you don't have a passport, you would either need a state ID, a driver's license, or a school ID.
Okay, awesome. And I know one of the year-round positions that you had mentioned was lifeguard. Can you touch a little bit more on the lifeguard? Because I know there's some special training that y'all give as well, right?
Yes. So all of our lifeguards go through a lifeguard certification first before they even get hired. And so with the lifeguard certification, you will it's so it depends on like right now we do them on the weekends. So they're typically back-to-back weekends that you would go to the branch. And so there is a swim test that's required prior to. So then once you pass that swim test, you are often into the class. Now, we also have something that's very special that's called Lifeguard Academy. So let's say, for example, you go and you take your swim test, but you're not successful, but you still want to become a lifeguard, then we enroll you into a lifeguard academy. And that way you will be working either with a swim instructor or a head guard to work on the strokes that you need and build up your strength. So that way, when you take your swim test, you will be able to pass as well as the physical part of the test because you have to be able to swim the length of the pool, tread water for 3 minutes, and there's also some more details. And then there's some classroom assignments that happen too, as well as some e-learnings.
Awesome. Is there any, I guess, what are your recommendations for students, right? What skills and maybe what are some of the things that they can do, right, to stand out as an applicant, or what are some of the things that y'all look for, right? Well, what can they do now to kind of beef up their resume or even show their personality as an applicant?
So as an applicant to really beef up your resume, talk about what you've done. Talk about your if it's volunteering, if you've never had a job before, but you have volunteered and you work with youth, if you're working anything with Playhouse or with sports or with lifeguarding, talk about the things that you've already done. If you had positions where you worked in customer service, make sure like especially on the applications, what did you like about it, what you didn't like about it, make sure those things are that you address those on the application as well as in your resume.
Awesome. All right.
And also, I do want to point out, I was a former recruiter. And so sometimes they will send you what we've moved into a system of if you get a call back, you will also get what's called wedge. And it's a way for us to screen and also meet with people prior to bringing everyone in for an interview. And with wedge, wedge is going to ask you questions. So a few things that I want you guys to remember. Wedge is a way for you to be able to communicate without talking to a person first. And so with this, you want to make sure that your lighting is good. You want to make sure that you're in an area that's clear and that's noise free. You want to make sure that you're front face in that camera. You have the ability, let's just say you had a question and you kind of fumbled through the question, you have the ability to delete that one, erase it, and start over. And so using those opportunities as well, because those things are also seen. And so sometimes, and even when you're talking with someone in person, I've been someone who's hired over 1,100 people, and I will say, and a lot of times I can notice when someone is nervous. If you are, just say, just give me 1 second. And I want you guys to think of, even though you're interviewing, think of this as a conversation. And so therefore it kind of takes the nerves off of that part too. And it's okay to say if you're nervous too as well. It's all right. And when a hiring manager is asking you questions, it's not a pop quiz. We just want to see, what you do know. Do you have a personality? Does your schedule fit? Those are things that are really important. Also, if you have conflicting schedules, talk about that too as well. If you're only available from this time, let's say you're only available Monday, Tuesday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 4:30 to 8. Make sure to lead with that because they will ask you, or if they say, are you available Monday through Friday? And you say yes, but in all actuality, you're only available Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Go ahead and make sure that they know that upfront. And
Awesome.
any position that requires you to work on weekends, and if you say yes to that, but then you come back and say that you can't, that's kind of one of those things to where you want to make sure that you're giving them factual information from the beginning.
Awesome. Um, is there anything else? If y'all have any other questions, feel free to ask in the Q&A area, and I'll ask Stephanie. Oh, somebody asked about the pay, right? So,
Mhm.
what are some of the ranges, right, for each of the positions as far as
So
pay?
we range, so for example, from Playhouse, depending on your experience, it range anywhere from 11.25 to $13 an hour. For lifeguards, it's 12.50 to 13.50 an hour. Front desk attendant is 11 to $13 an hour as well.
Awesome. And of course, that is going to range from by location, and also
Hmm.
the different experience, or whether if it's full time or part time.
Hmm.
I know that you mentioned that you have both, right? Part time and full time positions. Um, what are some of the? Can you differentiate which ones are more part time and which ones are more full time? I know you said lifeguards like a year round.
So year round, it's a year round part-time position with our lifeguards. Same thing with our playhouse as well as for our membership service reps. So they work year round, but they're part-time positions. So there's anywhere between 15 to about 22 hours, 25 hours a week. And I will say in the summertime that increases just because of the amount of members and guests that come in to our facilities at that time. And also if we have the like pools that have like the slides and stuff, so more people are wanting to come and swim. So it goes up to about 35 to 38 hours a week in the summertime, just because we're the amount of people that come into our facility.
Awesome. And we have some new students that were admitted. I think we're now at about 441 students total. So that's awesome
That's
and
awesome.
amazing. Thank you all for joining us today.
Thank you.
Again, for those that joined a little late, Stephanie Johnson is from the YMCA, and she's the membership and sales director. And she was just going over all the positions they are hiring. So contact your local area YMCA. And if you're in the Fort Worth area, then you can contact your coordinator from K-12 or myself, Luis Obregon, your job placement manager. We'll get you set up with your resume and with the information that you need to do the applications with Stephanie. And since we did have a couple people join right now,
And I will say, Luis, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're not in the Fort Worth area, if you're in Dallas, or if you're in Arlington, San Antonio, Houston, there's a Y in just about every place that I've named. So what you would do is just look up the YMCA in your area. And once you look up the YMCA in your area, after you work with your job coordinator, that way you'll be able to fill out the application, apply your resume, and then also usually there is depending on the location, someone that you would email back. So like for myself in Fort Worth at the Ryan Family YMCA, if you guys decide to want if you want to work here, I would be the person that you would reach out to. But on the application as well, there's someone that you can follow up with. Or what I would suggest is, let's just say, if you're living in a different city, you would, once you apply, you would call that branch to speak to. You can ask for a director of, depending on what it is. So if it's director of sports, director of membership, usually membership and Playhouse run together. And then you would ask to speak to them, or you can ask for their email address. If you ask for their email address, that way you can get their email, introduce yourself that way, and just say, hello, my name is Stephanie Johnson. I've recently applied for the sports monitor position. I know that the season is getting ready to start for soccer. I am interested. You can give a little bit about yourself in there. I've had 13 years of experience playing soccer. I love working with the youth, and I would look forward to a follow up, if not an interview. And then from there, someone would follow back up with you.
Awesome. Let me go over a couple more of the questions. Um, Here's an interesting question. So, as far as the positions do y'all have, do you all, um, I guess what, can you just go over the age again as far as how old they need to be to apply, right?
So for most of our positions, you do need to be 16. However, we have two unique positions. One for sports, as a sports official, you can be 15. Now, typically with this one, you would only work on Saturdays. And that's just because of the state regulations and the time that you would have to be off of work. And so you would only work on Saturdays. In the summertime, we have what's called the slide attendant, and those are at four of our pools in Fort Worth. And so if you have a pool in your area, or if they allow a pool in your area with a slide, an outdoor pool, then you can be 15. But for the most part, all of our positions start at 16.
Awesome. And then, do you all work with students or applicants that need accommodations?
Yes, we do.
Awesome. Is there anything else? I guess because I know we're coming upon time. If students, if y'all did not catch the beginning portions of it, this is recorded and you can watch this at a later time. Our hard stop is at 11:30. So, is there any last words of wisdom that you would like to share with us, Stephanie, about just careers, or maybe since you
Hmm.
were a recruiter,
Hmm.
please feel free.
So I would say, looking at positions, um, I've always tried to find positions that work, that what you love to do, because if you love it, or you really enjoy it, it's not really work to you. When I started when I was 18, I worked as a day camp counselor. I My other positions, I was think there was things that I were interested in, and then it became into a full-time role. So even if the why is not something that you're interested in, find things that you are and make that either your part-time or make that part of your career, because then you will be able to see that you love it more. It's not just a job. I never want anyone to come into, and not speaking bad about fast food, because I think a lot of times people get it because they need a job, but it may not be their passion. So find things that you really do enjoy doing, enjoy working.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us
Oh,
today.
and one more thing is, always a lot of times,
Yes.
our part-time positions, they do turn into full-time, or they turn into leads. So we have staff who started at 16, maybe 18, and now they're leads for us. They turn, and we also have coordinator positions. One of the things about the YMCA, we like to promote within. So if it is something that you're interested in or that you like, that's something to think about too. And that's just not for the Y. That's a lot of companies that want to promote within, because we know that you're invested, you understand the culture, and that this is something that you want to be a part of.
Awesome. All right. 11:29. So we're going to go ahead and end the industry chat. But again, thank you so much,
Thank you.
Stephanie, for joining us and for
Absolutely.
sharing with us. Again, if you have any other questions, or you want to watch the video, one, if you have questions, reach out to your coordinators, or even to myself. Um, if you would like to watch this video later, we're going to have it available for all students. And thank you for joining us, and thank you for again presenting for us, Stephanie.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys have a great Friday.